So welcome everyone to episode 6 or 7. I'm gonna have to double check on that. Sorry about that, y'all. But I have my very special guest here with me, Tiara. Would you like to say hello to everyone, Tiara?
Hey everyone, I hope everybody's staying safe and healthy and not going too crazy during this self-isolation time period right now. Excited to be here and thanks for having me on, Chris.
Oh yes, for sure. And thanks for kind of giving people context here, like what point in our lives we're at, right? So just to let everyone know, I think it's like April 21st. So happy 420 to all of y'all who celebrated. I didn't really get to, but it is what it is. But just to give y'all some context, Tiara's actually in New York. If you want to rep your set, let them know where you at. Like,
Yes, yes, shout out to New York.
yes.
I live in Astoria, previously was living in Harlem, but now in Queens, got a little bit more space, so loving New York.
Yes. Okay, dope. I'm in Austin. As if you all have been listening to the other episodes, I'm based out here in Austin from Jersey, so I know a lot of East Coast connections. If this is your first episode as well, you also will notice that I don't do introductions, right? I haven't explained who Tiara is, what she does, etc. The goal of this is for you to actually listen to the whole episode, learn about her, and if you want to reach out, whatever the case is, feel free to connect with us. Um, so we're gonna go ahead and get started, Tiara. We kind of we're offline, kind of discussing some things because we kind of vibe off of each other. So I think that's dope. So we kind of covered some of these questions already, but just to kind of touch base on them, right? How do you think coronavirus will affect our future, like as a whole, and then how do you think it'll affect your future as an individual?
Yeah, so I mean, as a whole, what I've really been observing right now is just so many changes that companies are making.
Yes.
Quickly pivoting to a more digital, more remote, flexible space. One thing in particular that I love that my company is doing is just establishing boundaries. So making sure that we have meetings within certain time parameters so we can be conscious of people who are parents or people who honestly just need a break. Not every day is going to be super productive. I have days where I feel like I'm on a high, I can get it all done. And then there's other days where I don't want to leave bed. This isn't a normal working remotely, working from home situation. And the companies that I think will flourish and succeed are the ones who really recognize and appreciate that. In terms of myself as a whole, I think one thing that Chris, you and I were chatting about was prior to all this, I really wasn't familiar with remote work. I
Right.
had worked from home, obviously, have doctor's appointments, or sometimes, the super is coming and I got to be home. But as a whole, remote working was really different for me. And so it was a huge adjustment. I had to make sure that I had space in my New York City apartment. I had to make sure I had a desk. I had to make sure I had an appropriate chair. I ended up actually ordering a chair like 2 weeks in because I was like, this ain't going to work.
Right.
So it's those things that just as an individual, and then I've also realized that I can be super productive from home. But one of my biggest things that I realized was I used to think I was an introvert, but I quickly realized that I'm not. I think I'm a combo, a combo of an introvert and an extrovert because I do feed off of the energy. So my job is really spent talking to people, and whether it's on video, whether it's on the phone, but I really love popping over to people's desks and having a conversation or being able to go to the cafeteria and hang out with my friends. And so that was something that I was really, really surprised by because I thought I would be just flourishing in this quarantine situation, and it definitely was really hard the first few weeks.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like I definitely agree with a lot of the points you were making from like the company's perspective and how they can be successful by what they're implementing. But then also just like, with like you as a whole, like I feel like this is helping us as individuals really discover like what we're capable of, right? Like and where we stand with like our feelings towards things. Like you don't know what
Yeah.
you don't know until you experience something that will help you realize that. So I feel like there's kind of like a light in this shadowy part of our lives. But okay, so you kind of also touched a little bit on the second question, which was how you were dealing at home every day. Did you want to add a note on that, or did you want to move to the next question?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think the biggest thing, Chris used to work with me, so he knows that I am like a huge proponent of like to-do lists, and I'm super
Yes.
organized. And, for me during this time period, one thing that has really helped me is honestly sticking to somewhat of a routine. So, I wake up, I take a shower, I always get dressed. Actually, my friends always laugh at me because I like get dressed in regular clothes. Like I try to dress pretty nicely. And honestly, it's not really for anyone but myself. Like it's
Yes.
not like my job is telling me to dress like this, but if you know me, you know that I really love clothes. And so even though I'm in the house, I still want to look good for myself. So I get dressed. I write in my gratitude journal. So I have a 5 minute gratitude journal that actually I think one of your other podcasts, excuse me, yes, gave me actually Fabiola. So still have a journal from her. She gave that to me last year. So write in my 5 minute gratitude journal, and then really just set myself up for the day. So I try to write out my to-do list. I try to make sure that I have breakfast. So it's like these little things. I make my bed. I open the window so I can see some sunshine, even if it's just looking at my bodega across the street. But it really does make a difference for me having those little things, or it feels as though my day is pretty thrown off if I don't do those things.
Honestly, I kind of like that you shared that because it's like, it's for me, I have a degree in psychology and human resources. So, but the psychology perspective of it, I'm just thinking, like, wow, like, you're in a sense like normalizing yourself. So it like
Mm-hmm.
almost feels like everything is okay. And I feel like
Yeah.
that's a good defense mechanism. It's like reminding yourself like, hey, if you continue to carry on as if you would any other day, then it could just be any other day. And
Exactly.
that could just go beyond work. It could go with even a mood like, hey, I want to be a boss today. So I'm going to be a boss today whether it's raining, whether it's,
Yes.
shining, whatever it is. Like I'm bossing today. And also, little tidbit, I just want to say that Tiara was definitely top best dressed at our job. Like, so I was a little intimidated that you were gonna want to be on camera because I'm like, oh shit, I'm gonna have to like dress up and stuff. Like she gonna be wearing the leather dress with the like, like I don't know, like you always got something going on that's like super like forward. I'm like, okay, future outfit, like. So
Thank
I'm
you.
here
I
for it.
appreciate it. Yeah, I love clothes, so it really is my
Yeah.
way to express myself. Like in high school, I had this little journal where I would write down my outfits so I would know not to repeat them. Really crazy that I did that, but
It's not though, because I take a picture of myself every day. So I'm even thinking, I'm like, did I wear this shirt in an episode? I'm like, I hope I did it. If I did, y'all just disregard it. I got more clothes, I swear. I'm a mess. So I actually don't know this, but what is your zodiac sign?
So I'm a Taurus, so actually my birthday is coming up.
Really? Yeah, I know that your birthday is coming up, but I didn't like. I'm really bad at like guessing like what sign it is, even though like I know the month. Like,
Yeah, no. So I'm a Taurus, so my birthday is May 17th.
shout out to the
Originally, I was
17th.
going to be spending my birthday in Toronto, but, Miss Rona, not going to let that happen.
Snatched it.
Yes, fuck her.
Right, for real.
I'm going to be, here in New York. I think I might go upstate and go, like, hiking for a day or something with my husband. But, you got to pivot and adjust, so I'm okay. I definitely was a little upset when I was thinking about it earlier. I was like, dang, I was really going to be in Toronto and having a good old time. But, life is unpredictable. So.
That's really interesting that you are a Taurus because there are so many like stereotypical qualities that I feel like maybe from my perspective I don't see in you. Like, for example, like I feel like people say like, oh, like Tauruses are stubborn, but you don't really come off as like a stubborn person to me. So that's really interesting. And then also one of the things that I will say is that like a Taurus quality that does stick out to me is that like you are in your ways, and like that could be like as deep as it can get, as in like maybe habitually, or even as like surface level as like I'm gonna do this because that's just how I am, period, but I like
Yeah,
that
yeah.
because it's like you're rooted, it's like this is who I am, like take it or leave it. Like,
Yes.
but who I am is a boss. So I'm gonna keep doing this because I'm stuck in my ways, and the ways that I'm in is a boss. Like these are boss ways.
No, it's funny. I do agree. Sometimes, like, it is, like, being a Taurus, I'm into zodiac, and sometimes I am definitely stubborn in sometimes. But I do think there's things about me, like, I'm super hardworking,
Right.
and dependable, and like you said, like, I really believe in what I believe, and so, take it or leave it. Like me or don't, I'm not really gonna try to bend over backwards to seek approval of others or of anyone, honestly.
Right. I love that though. That's like honestly like I feel like it could be a double edged sword, but right when it's like at the perfect level of it, it's like perfect. And I feel like that's where you're at. Like, okay, so kind of like a wrench question here. Do you think people's sexuality play a part in their personality?
That's an interesting question. Um, I've never really thought about that. I mean, so I think about certain situations where people are sexualized. Like, I'm just gonna use an example from when I was growing up. I had a friend. I grew up in the suburbs outside Philly, and I had
Shout
a
out
friend.
Philly.
Shout out to Philly. A friend, she was black like me. And while we were in middle school, some of us were developing faster than others, and she was one of those people who was developing faster, and so guys were definitely like, oh, like, look at her butt, and snapping her bra, and I'm not gonna lie, like, I was definitely envious that you're getting attention because
Right.
I had nobody whatsoever. But they really were sexualizing her from a pretty young age. I remember, like, high school guys trying to talk to her, and thinking back at the time, we were like, oh, like, he's, a ninth grader, he's so cute. But now, in hindsight, I'm like, that's pretty gross.
Right.
These guys were preying on, these innocent young girls who didn't really know any better. And so her personality, all of that is to say that her personality, she wasn't, she never had sex. But what ended up happening was, because of these guys seeking her and giving her all this attention, rumors started to start, and people started to say that she was doing things that she wasn't. I was her friend, so I knew she wasn't doing those things. But it ended up becoming, because of it, it felt as though it ended up becoming a part of her personality in a weird way. Now, she, like I said, was a virgin. She wasn't doing any of this stuff. But over time, I think what happened to her, and what I feel like is really unfortunate, is that she began to be like, well, people are going to think I'm doing it anyway, so I might as well do it. And, I think sexuality is something that you should own. I don't think anyone should ever have to answer any questions about their sexuality. I think if you want to sleep with as many people as possible, do that, as long as you're safe and you're happy and, you're not putting anyone in harm's way, and it's legal. But, I do think that there's certain aspects, in particular when people try to sexualize, young women, that it really can be detrimental. And, I saw it firsthand with her, and how she really reacted to it, and just some of the things that came from it, and the rumors, and just the nasty things that people were saying about her that wasn't true, to the point where she just didn't care anymore, and she started to carry herself as so. So that was really unfortunate. And I really think that before you judge someone and their sexuality or anything that they're doing, take a look at yourself. Like, I'm a firm believer, like, what are you doing that makes you so much better and be in this place to judge and really look down on someone? So that's my spiel, but...
I like that because it's like even the story that you shared, like it reminds me of this new show that's on Netflix. Shout out Netflix. Hope y'all pay for this episode. No, I'm just kidding. But there's this new show that just dropped like this week or last week. I don't even know what time is anymore. But it's called Too Hot to Handle. I don't know if you've watched it.
Oh, yeah.
So okay, so you have watched it. Okay, so
I have not watched it yet. My best friend loves Netflix, loves reality shows, and so she was watching it recently. And I think one thing she pointed out was that there's not a lot of black women on the show.
Yeah, there's one black girl and two black guys.
Yeah, which
But
feel
it's
pretty
also
typical.
like, so this is my take on it, right? And not to like, this wasn't even where I was gonna take it, but let's take it there. I feel like Netflix was like, okay, we're gonna have a majority white cast, but to protect ourselves, we're gonna say that no, 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 it is a diverse white cast. This guy's from London. This girl's from Ireland. This guy's from Australia. This guy's from this place. And I'm like, bitch, please. Like, but you know,
Oh
I
man.
can't even lie. One of the black guys was from Jersey, so I was like, hey, like, I was like, where from? Like, you know, like I got mad hyped. I'm so ratchet, but like that's just you gotta rep your shit. Like I was like,
Of
okay,
course.
and he was acting so Jersey too. It was like he was a little wishy washy, and that bothered me. I was like, ugh, stop, just root yourself. Like, but in a way, he was rooting himself. He was wishy washy towards one of the girls, but he was rooted in himself. So it's like I understand that. Like you're not being wishy washy towards who you are. You're just not sure if you like this girl or not yet, because things have happened to you. But the reason that I did bring up the show is because
Yeah.
I feel like sexuality now does play a part in certain people's personalities because in the show there's certain characters who just literally cannot go without having sex, and I'm just like in a way, like I was just like, damn, like maybe that's just who you are, like as a person. That's how you express yourself. Some people sing, some people dance. Maybe that's how you
Yeah.
what you got to do, like I smoke. I don't want people to be like, well, how about you go on a show and not smoke? Like, no. Like, how about I don't? Like, but
Yeah, I get that. I get that. I think, yeah, I understand what you're saying. And I haven't checked out that show yet. So many people have texted me about it. So I think maybe after this, I'm going to go watch it and get a sense of what people have been discussing. But, I think there's certain core parts of a person's personality, honestly. And, you shouldn't have to give up anything that you don't want to give up. That's really my stance on things.
right, and I'm here for that. But okay, so I'm actually intrigued in this question on a personal level. So who is like your favorite like rapper, singer, or artist? It could be three people. It could be one person. However you want to break it down.
Artist. Wow. That's a good one. I mean, of course, I love Beyonce. That is
Yes.
just a given. Really, honestly, what I love most about Beyonce isn't necessarily even like her music. Like, I love her music, but what I really love is her intentionality. I feel as though she's very intentional about everything that she does. She really moves with grace and class, and honestly, it's super inspiring. Some of my worst days, honestly, I'll throw on Beyonce and I'll be like, all right, get this shit done. Like, you know
Right.
what? Do this work. You can do it. You got this. And I think about, how inspired I felt when I watched Homecoming on Netflix. And so I think for me, like, Beyonce is just someone who I think of in terms of just work ethic, and it's really, really admirable. And it's just, it's, it's everything that I hope to really showcase in my work. I try to be really hardworking. I try to be really thoughtful and intentional about the things that I do. And, she's someone who I think really lives up to it. Um, and then, honestly, I love Solange. Like, it's, for me, I love Solange on a more, I would say, personal level. Like, I really connect with her. I love the type of person that, at least she appears to be. Obviously, I don't know either one of them personally, but the type of person that she appears to be. She's so fearless. She's so just bomb as fuck. I love her music. I just really vibe and connect with her. But other artists that I really love, Jill Scott, Jilly from Philly, Erica Badu. I'm really into like slow music that you can vibe to, you can listen to while it's raining. I'm really into that. Then, of course, I have my ratchet moments. So I do love some City Girls. Like,
Yes.
Chris actually used
Oh
to
my
play
god.
City Girls in our office. And anytime I listen to City Girls, I'm not even lying. You're always the person I think about whenever it comes on.
Yes. I love that
But
you
yeah, I
said
like to have
that.
fun. I went to an HBCU, so I like to, have a good time and listen to music. But I think what I really like gravitate towards in particular is some of the like slower, more thoughtful music, I would say.
Okay, so with that in mind, what is your favorite music genre then? Maybe R&B, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. R&B. I mean, yesterday I had a really good time because it was Teddy Riley versus Babyface.
I totally
Instagram
missed
Live.
that, and I'm so upset.
Oh my gosh, it was so good. I felt it was so funny. Like I find it really amusing. And going back to your earlier question, like it's really great to see how we're like pivoting to these virtual spaces. Like I'm not a big like Instagram Live person in particular, but I do love seeing these opportunities where like legends are getting together and having these conversations and having these battles. And so yesterday I was vibing. I was in my bag. Like I had a glass of wine.
Yes.
I was listening to Babyface and Teddy, and I was like, oh my gosh, they're dropping so many gems, so much great music. Like that was the genre. Like I really flourished last night until, of course, there was technical issues and Teddy was dropping out and his Wi-Fi wasn't connecting. But it was really like a dope time, and that's the music that I feel like whenever I'm really down or whenever I need something to listen to, I don't necessarily immediately put on City Girls unless I'm trying to be in that mood. I will like gravitate towards like 90s or early 2000s like R&B.
Okay, I like that. I like that was like a really see the reason that like I invited you to the show like as well is because like you give like very like descriptive answers about your opinion, and I love that because it's like your opinion matters, like it really does. And it's like you make that point. You're like, listen, like I'm gonna tell you something, and I'm gonna tell you about it. Like, so it's like I like that. Okay, cool. So, what is your favorite movie?
Favorite movie? Wow. Okay. So I have a lot of different movies that I like, and it depends on like the mood that I'm in. I would say I'll rattle off some of my favorites. Like I love The Best Man. I love The Woods. I love Brown Sugar. I really like, this is my romantic side. I really love When Harry Met Sally. I'm definitely like one of those hopeless romantics. So I always believe in like couples getting together who are friends for years, and it's just like my corny side. But I really do love. I'm trying to think. Oh, Paid in Full is another one of my favorites. Goodfellas. I have a variety. I would say I have a diverse range of taste when it comes to movies. But I would say like Wood, Brown Sugar, Best Man, Goodfellas, When Harry Met Sally. So very different genres when it comes to movies, but it really depends on like where my mindset is at and what I'm looking to watch.
So I think Netflix has a couple of those. So really, like, pay for this episode. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just playing. But okay, so that's what's up. And actually, like, I feel like in my perspective, like, you almost answered the next question, but I'm not sure, right? Like, I'm assuming your favorite movie genre is romantic comedies. But I could be wrong, right? What would you say is your favorite movie genre?
I would say my favorite movie genre is like, okay, so I love monster movies. Like
Monster
like
or Mobster?
Mobster.
Oh,
So
we would
like
get along. All I've been watching all week, and this whole last 2 months has just been mobster movies. But continue. Like,
really, that's so funny.
yeah, like have you seen like Alpha Dog? Like I've even been watching like these quote unquote like white gangster like movies. I'm like, okay, what are y'all doing over here?
Yeah, no, it's so funny. Yeah, like I love that. Like, I love Goodfellas. That's one of my favorite. A Bronx Tale is also a favorite of mine. I just Casino. I watched that the other day.
Yes.
And I think a lot of this honestly comes from like my dad. So I'm really close to my dad. And when I was growing
Some of
up,
us would
I
like
would
to
go
be
visit
too.
him.
I'm just kidding. No, I'm saying that because her dad is fine. Like,
I'm sure he would be very happy to hear that people are fine. But I was really,
well, if you give me his number, I'll tell him himself. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just playing. Oh my god, I'm a mess. I haven't even opened the white claw yet.
Italian mobster movies, and so like growing up, we would always watch them. And I remember like we watched A Bronx Tale together. We watched we watched so many movies together, and I remember we watched The Bronx Tale. There's like a scene when the girl like reaches over and like opens the door or unlocks the door for
Oh my
the
God.
guy
And
that
if
she
they don't do
sees.
that, they're not a keeper.
Yes,
Period.
one of the great ones.
Period.
And so like that always stuck out in my mind. And my dad, I remember like him pausing and turning to me and telling me like about that. And so yeah, I think a lot of times like movies or even music there's like a sense of nostalgia. And so for me, like I really love those movies because one, I felt really close to my dad watching them, and two, like it really like makes me reminisce on weekends together and times that we spent together when I was growing up.
Okay, I like that. I like that. Okay, dope. I feel like you have like a. I mean, maybe it's because like I know you like be on this episode or like prior to the episode. Um, I feel like you have like a family vibe, like a family influence, family driven, and I love that.
Yeah, yeah. I'm really close to my family. I have a huge family. A lot of cousins. I have a sister and a brother that are younger than me. My mother passed away when I was 16, and I'm really close with my grandmother, who was my mom's mom. I call her my mom, so she's someone who I really look up to and admire. And then, like I mentioned before, I'm really close with my dad. I love all my aunts and my uncles, so I've always had a really close family. So of course, during this time, it's definitely a little hard. They're all in Philly, so I think that's something that has been really, just affecting me in general, like not being able to see them because I'm so used to being around them. But thankfully, technology and FaceTime and Zoom has made it a little bit easier.
Right, for sure. I feel like a lot of people are like starting to buy more technology products just so they could stay more connected to close ones.
Yeah, exactly. Totally.
Okay. Well, okay, so where do you work?
Yeah, so I work at NBC Universal. I am the diversity and inclusion manager, so I focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion for our ad sales department.
Okay, dope. So, in case y'all didn't know before, Tiara is a boss. Like, um, okay,
No,
cool.
Chris is amazing. If y'all are listening to this, I'm sure you know or have a sense of his just infectious energy, and he definitely is, a light and someone who is really crazy, but really fun to be around.
Definitely crazy.
He was definitely at like all the events in New York and just always, getting to know people, and honestly to me was like the epitome of a true extrovert. So, I'm not surprised that he's doing this podcast.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So just to give people some context, right? Like, how old are you? And I know never ask a woman her age.
Oh my gosh. I am 28. I'm going to be 29 next month.
Shout out the Tauruses. Also, I know that May is a big month as well. So, I'm here for you. Reach out if you need. And then also, what is your favorite color? I feel like I've seen you wear so many colors that like really. Okay, so I'm gonna just name a couple that I think like really look good on you, like yellow, red, olive green, royal blues, black. That you wear this like orange, like it was like an orange peach like salmon type color, but like yeah, so those are just a couple. Like jean, like leather, like those aren't colors, but like.
Let me go ask my husband what he thinks.
Ooh, well, I'm like totally like gay, so like there's like different answers, like. Like
like, I think that brown.
Sorry, these are weed.
Really good.
I'm joking. These are not Corona cups. These are weed cups. Sorry. Oh my god. Okay, continue. Sorry.
So yeah, I would say that like I think brown skin looks really like yellow looks really good on brown skin.
Yes.
That is definitely a color that I really like. But my favorite color in particular is red. So growing up, I had a little red Nissan Sentra.
Yes.
Like in college, I had this like really dope red blazer that I used to wear. Red just always makes me feel really powerful. In fact, a little known thing about me is whenever I'm really nervous about something, whether it's like a presentation that I have to do in front of a big group of people or an event I have to lead, I'll go and get my nails done, and I'll get them done in red. And the reason for that is because it makes me feel really powerful, and it makes me feel as though, like, all right, you got this. You're a boss. You can do this. And it's like such a simple thing, but like looking down at my nails and seeing them bright red or cherry red, whatever the case may be, really does give me like a boost of confidence. So if you ever want to know if I'm nervous or if I'm about to leave something, you can look at my nails and they'll be red.
And you know, it's crazy. Like, I feel like I like that you mentioned that because from a color psychology perspective, red is like arousing to the mind. So it's like, in a way, like your brain is already like trained to see red and think like, all right, like blood is flowing, like let's get this going. And then the fact that you like attached that like extra part to it is just like, and I love that you brought that up because I want people to be able to channel anxiety into energy, you know, and that's what you're doing. Like you're like channeling that energy. You're taking anxiety and you're making it something positive. You're like, all right, I'm gonna take this adrenaline and I'm gonna fuel it into something that's gonna benefit me.
Yeah,
And
yeah, exactly.
that's
Yeah,
like a
you hit
powerful
nail on the head.
thing. And I'm glad that you shared that with us. Like, you know, it's these little things that I feel like, you know, sometimes not all skin folk is kinfolk. We had this discussion before, and it's like sometimes listening to these podcasts are the only way that we get this type of information. You know, like how can I reach out to someone that I could trust? Like who knows who's listening to this and is gonna be like, damn, I didn't know that there were black women working at NBCU, you know? And I didn't know that I could be 28 and be doing something like that boss at this young. So little things like that. But okay, so let's see here. So what is your biggest fear?
Mm. I would say for me, my biggest fear is really not living up to my expectations. So,
Mm.
like, even when I was younger, like my dad used to get so mad at me because I put a lot of pressure on myself. And over the last like year or so, I've really been trying to um, really think about myself differently and stop putting so much pressure on being the perfect daughter or being, this amazing friend and just being everything to everyone, but being nothing to myself.
Mm.
And so,
I hate that.
so, I really have been trying to think a little bit differently about some of the things that I put on myself and some of the anxiety and stress that I honestly give myself. That people aren't even thinking about. But, for me, not living up to my potential is something that really bothers me. I know that there's so many things that I want to do. And whether it's professionally, whether it's personally, I really have a fear of an unlived life. I think just on a personal note, it goes back to, like I said, my mom died when I was 16, and she was only 38 when she died. And so, for me, I think in the back of my mind, I always have like a time, like there's like a timer, like, okay, I'm 28 right now. So I always think, okay, I have 10 years. And it sounds morbid, but it makes me feel as though I need to live life to the fullest. And I need to make sure that I am only in situations and positions that are serving me. And I think in the last year and a half in particular, that has been like crystal clear. I don't want to waste 1 minute with people who don't value me. I don't want to waste 1 second at a job that doesn't really care about me. And so, because of that, it has helped really fuel some of the decisions that I make in my personal life and my professional life. And I think it can be good and bad, but my biggest thing is just, making sure that I am living a life that I want people to talk about and living a legacy that I think, even if it's just a legacy for my family, that they'll be proud of. So that's really important to me.
I like that because it's like I don't know, like I feel like it's easy for me to hear you say these things because I feel like I've seen that firsthand.
Mm-hmm.
Um and maybe for people listening to this they're like, wow, like I'm like amazed by it, but I'm just like, this is just who she is. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, like I'm just like, okay, so like, uh, that's just like I feel like someone might be like, wow, that was like a picture perfect answer, and I'm like, she probably just thought about this on the like as she was just talking, like because it was just like that's where you're at. So it's like, I hate to bring it back to like zodiac signs, but it's just like you're in your ways, and the ways that you're in is just like on some boss shit, and it's like that's exactly why I wanted people to like discover you. Like I want there to be a platform where you are exposed on like every level. Like I feel like you could be the president one day. Like on some real shit. Like I always made that joke every day I came into work. I was like, okay, like Miss Obama, like like oh my God, like. But okay, so if you could live anywhere, where would it be? And I mean, I know that like you're a planner. I know that you already have a plan on where you're going to next. Not any spoilers, but like, where would you want to be if it could be anywhere? No, like any constraints to it at all. Well, I mean, obviously there's gonna be some like temperature constraints and like natural constraints that you can't change, but um, I guess if there wasn't a financial constraint, like where would it be?
So one thing that I did that I really loved, when I turned 25, I had this like quarter life crisis, and I, quit my job and moved to Costa Rica, and I lived there for a summer, and it was just an amazing experience. Like honestly, one of the best experiences that I've ever had in my life, and also very unlike myself because, like you said, I'm a planner, and so everyone was like, "What are you doing?" But I really loved that I did that, and I loved Costa Rica. It was so beautiful. It was expensive, but it was definitely like a very beautiful country. I was teaching English while I was there and taking Spanish classes, so really felt as though I was making an impact. And then on the weekends, I was exploring the country and taking buses places and getting to know people. So I really loved that experience. So I wouldn't mind living in Costa Rica, but me and my husband, we went to Amsterdam a few years ago, and we just loved it. Honestly, fell in love with the city, with the architecture, with the people. We felt like we met like awesome people there. We had a good time. So Amsterdam has been a place that we've considered and have thought about. And honestly, like I fantasize about so many places. I really do. I love structure and I love planning things, but I also love the idea of throwing it all away and like backpacking for 3 to 6 months. So it's like a wide range of things that I would be interested in doing. But I would say for me, the two places that have always really stuck out in my mind are Costa Rica and Amsterdam.
That's actually dope as hell because I used to watch like HDTV a lot, especially when I moved back to Jersey from Cali, and I would just watch like House Hunters International and like see like all these people's like interest in like these exotic areas, and I'm just like, and it's just so interesting. Like I haven't been outside of the US, and well I've been to Mexico, and but like um I speak all these different languages like Italian, German, French, Spanish, English, and it's like I've never been to Costa Rica, I've never been to Amsterdam, and I think they speak German in Amsterdam, right? Like right? Or no? Or do they not? Like I don't know what language they speak there.
No, they speak, like so. I mean, so for me, actually, it's really funny. I ended up meeting some people from, I went to Ireland with my friend this year, and I met some people who were from originally from Australia, but live in Amsterdam at the moment. And they actually were saying that everything that I said, where the people were like super friendly and nice, they're like act like their experience was not the same. So they're like, no, actually, the people aren't that friendly, and if you're not like excuse me, if you're not from there, they don't necessarily like warm up to you. So they actually were recommending London.
Oh wow.
And I know someone who I went to college with lives in London right now, and actually my cousin lives in London, and she met her husband there. And it's to me, London reminds me of New York City. So I wouldn't necessarily, I don't gravitate towards it. I've been there, I like it, but I think for my next phase of life, I wouldn't mind just slowing down a bit. So that's kind of why Costa Rica stuck out to me. It was just very, very friendly. And really just enjoyed how beautiful the country was and just a slower pace of life. I think that's what I'm looking for in my next step.
Okay, dope. I actually had a friend just moved to Costa Rica, so I'm definitely trying to visit her. Shout out Bianca. I actually met her here in Austin. Um, I need her to come visit me too. But okay. So, what would you change about yourself if you could, and why?
Hmm. One thing I would change about myself is my. I think it goes back to like my constant need to be everything for everyone. I think that can be, really good trait in some situations, but can be really detrimental to myself and others. I do put just intense pressure. A story about myself when I was younger. I used to get like if I would get a B, for example, or like an A minus on an assignment or on a test, I would come home and I would cry. And my parents would be like, "What is wrong with you? Like you got an A or you got a B plus?" And I would be like, "Yeah, but it should have been an A plus. Like I should have got a 95. I should have got 100." So, and this is me at like 7 years old. So I think that those are things that like I definitely have been working on. Like I said, in the last year and a half, just to not be so rigid in my ways and just putting so much pressure on myself. It really it's just not healthy. I'm not trying to have breakdowns like every day in the bathroom at work or something. So, just have really been trying to like extend grace to myself and be a little bit more kind to who I am and recognize that I do have to set boundaries. I do have to say no sometimes. I'm not always going to be the perfect insert, person thing here. And that's important for me to really recognize and understand.
For sure, like definitely like put yourself first.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so I love
I'm
that.
working on
Okay,
it.
and then what is your proudest accomplishment?
I would say my proudest accomplishment is definitely pivoting from a social media strategy and digital strategy to diversity and inclusion. So, I didn't have this traditional background in like human resources or recruitment. I really didn't come from, honestly, I had no desire to be in HR, I had no desire at one point to be in recruiting, but I knew I wanted to really work with and work for people that looked like me. And I wanted to be an advocate. I really wanted to build community. And that was so important to me, but I didn't really know how to go about it. I didn't know how to get into that field. Everyone who I looked at on LinkedIn had like 10 years of experience and was like the chief diversity officer. I knew I couldn't get there where I was or the level that I was at the time. So for me, my proudest accomplishment is really just breaking into this industry and, staying true to myself. I really do believe in being an advocate for people. And I really know the importance of community and the importance of representation. And so I think for me, no matter what company I'm at, no matter what organization I'm a part of, I'll always stay true to my values and speak up about things that are important to me. And, you can like it, you don't have to. Like I said, I'm a Taurus, it doesn't matter to me either way. But I'm really proud of the fact that I was able to really break into this industry with no traditional experience and make somewhat of an impact. There's more work to be done. There's always more work to be done, but I'm pretty proud of the work that I've done so far.
Yeah, I definitely think that you have impressed me for sure. Like, the whole reason that well, I guess just to take a step back, like I've been in recruitment for maybe like 6, 7 years now at this point. So to see that you came into this without that background and me knowing like the constraints behind like HR roles and like things of that nature, like
Mm-hmm.
that was super impressive to me because it's like, when it comes to these types of roles, it's always like you must have this many years of experience in this field in order to like get into that. And the whole reason, I left uh, and joined the company that we worked for at the time was to learn about that area of diversity and inclusion, and I feel like you kind of like mastered that and took it to the next level. So, you know, I still feel like I have a lot to learn from you.
Oh my
So I
gosh,
think it's
but
cool.
for everyone listening, Chris is definitely, he should also choose his own horn. He was really, I would say, he was definitely trying to implement like strategies and tactics to make us work smarter. So, not everyone thinks like that, and not everyone really has that ability. Teaching and training people on like recruiting terms like Boolean strings and searches, and he was really, really thoughtful about just making sure that we weren't adding more work to our plate, but we were being smart about the work that we were doing. So I think more companies really need to lean into people that are efficient in that manner, because it definitely was something that I was learning and I learned from him, and even his like conversational manner, even your conversational manner, like with talking to people and on the phone and all that. It's super impressive. So I know you're giving me all this praise, but to shout out you too.
Oh, thank you. My thing is I feel like I don't even give people praise. I just observe what's there. No, for real. It's like everything is about perspective. I feel like sometimes you have to remind people, like, hey, like you might, like even for yourself. I feel like you put yourself in this situation where you're like putting yourself. I love it because it's like you're excelling and you're trying to like make yourself, you're challenging yourself, but we see your efforts, so it's like even when you feel like, hey, this wasn't my best, like just some of us were like, damn, like that was pretty good, like so it's just like, so imagine your best, but okay, so what makes you laugh the most?
I would say my friends and my family. Honestly, like, my friends and family are like, they're hilarious, and this time period has really got me even closer to them. I didn't think I could, but our happy hours and talking to each other and sending memes, and like I really feel like I am super lucky. And my husband, like he is very silly. His name's David, and he is
Shout out David.
He's great. He sees me in some of like obviously like my darkest moments when I'm not feeling my best, or he sees like when I feel like I'm suffering from imposter syndrome. But he always makes me laugh, even if I think he's being ridiculous. So really grateful to be here and going through this really crazy weird time with him. I've heard of couples like breaking up and divorce rates might be spiking after this, but like for us, like of course we have our arguments, like we're normal couples, but for us, it has really been just like a lot of fun, just playing around with one another. So I would say my friends, family, and my husband are those things that crack me up. And then honestly, like the internet is undefeated. I have been dying these last few weeks on Twitter and Instagram. Like people seem like I have been cracking up. So I think this is actually a really fun time to be on the internet, because people are just like saying the most ridiculous things and making these crazy memes, and I'm loving it.
Right. I'm glad that you bring up Instagram because that's actually the next question in a way. But just to make a little tidbit, shout out Instagram. It's my favorite social media platform. But I have been like a mix of like business and like comedy on my like story. Like I've been trying to like entertain people while I can, but like when I'm doing stuff, like for example, after this episode, I'm gonna upload it to YouTube. I'm gonna post a clip of the content onto Instagram, kind of to just give people like, hey, like, click on my YouTube channel, or link in bio, so you'll see all that propaganda after this, or marketing, whatever we want to call it. But yeah, like I'm love the memes. Like if you haven't seen my story yet today, definitely check out my story. I've been posting a bunch of like little funny like things that I've seen. And there will be more to come. Like, but okay, so just to get into the next question, right? So what is your favorite social media platform and why?
So if you would have asked me this when I was in college, I would definitely say Twitter, because I was huge on Twitter in college. Like I said, I went to an HBCU. Shout out to Hampton University.
Yes.
And that was really like our means of communication when I was there. Like we were on Twitter. We were, what's the move? Where are we at tonight? And so I really like used that platform a lot. Over time, though, interestingly enough, one of the platforms that I've been using the most during this time period in particular is Reddit. And
Really?
it's really interesting because like I said, I love Twitter, I love Instagram. Instagram is definitely probably I would say my second favorite. But Reddit, one, there's so many conspiracy theories on there. I think I just love falling down rabbit holes, and so
You love to
I go
read
on
too, though, but you like to read like smart shit.
yeah,
Like you don't want to
yeah,
read the bullshit on Twitter. Like,
yeah. So I like to read, and Reddit really for me I've been keeping up with coronavirus updates from doctors in New York City on Reddit, things that maybe people wouldn't necessarily be using it for. I really find interesting. It also gives me a sense of community. So like I said, I live in Queens, so I follow where I'm at in Queens, which is Astoria. I follow their Reddit, and they give me updates on different restaurants where I could get takeout from during this time period, and who has the best happy hour. And like I said, I'm all about community and community building, and I think that those really hyper local Reddit channels are super helpful. So for me, I would say right now Reddit is number one, just because I have been staying up to 2 a.m. reading all these theories about things. And then Instagram. Instagram I think is a really great platform to express yourself, to be a content creator. I personally love following motivational Instagrams and following people who I inspire, whether it's their work style, whether it's their style. So I'm definitely a huge fan of Instagram too. I think it's just a really great platform, and shout out to all my friends who work at Facebook. So.
right. Shoot. I love that answer because it's like I haven't gotten Reddit as an answer yet. So like
Ah,
I like that was like I wasn't even gonna say I was like is I don't know I don't use it, so it's like I've never like I mean I know a lot of people that use it, but I just didn't I don't. So I like that you
yeah.
brought that up. Like I actually was like, let me go on Reddit and see what they got about Austin because your boy need a job. Like anybody that's
Yeah,
listening that's
no,
hiring,
honestly,
hire
yeah.
me. Like but okay. So what would you sing at karaoke night?
And
Yes! Like, I love that you actually just sang it. You were the first person to just break out into song. Like, I love that. Yes.
Literally, I suck at singing. I was on a choir, but I obviously am actually not that good at singing. But I do love karaoke, so yeah, I'm any song that's any song that is actually by a very accomplished singer. So whether it's Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, Adele, you can hear me belting that out during karaoke because I love to embarrass myself.
I love that though, because it's just like, you gotta sing like a classic. And not to like bring this up, but I've read an article that Adele's husband is getting 100 million of her 150 million net value. And I thought
Oh
that
my
that
gosh.
was awful because it's just
Oh.
like, I get it. Like, I made all these songs about you, but you're actually a piece of shit. But I mean, I don't know too
Yeah.
much about her life to make those comments, but I apologize, Adele, if those aren't true, but whatever. If you could only eat one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Hmm. Okay. So I love to eat.
Yeah, that's what I was,
For
because I was sitting here thinking, I was like, she used to have a Grubhub or whatever the meal pal, whatever. What was it called?
oh yeah, meal pal. Yeah.
Yeah, like you guys used to have all these little different things. So I was just like, she like variety. What would she eat for every day?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. No. I love. Excuse me. I love variety. Something I've been craving a lot during this time is cheesesteaks. So
Oh my god, I was literally just thinking, I was like, she gonna say a cheesesteak. Like I was just like, I was like, she from Philly, she gonna say a cheesesteak. Like
I really have been
or
craving
a steak and
cheesesteaks a
cheese, I'm
lot.
sorry.
No, definitely not steak and cheese. Cheesesteak. I've been craving cheesesteaks a lot, but my husband, he's a chef, so honestly, I really love all of his food. He just he's so creative with his meals, and he's Puerto Rican, so I love when he makes me mofongo, and he just puts a really good creative spin on meals. So honestly, I've been eating good. I've probably gained about 20 pounds at this point because he cooks for me like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So I'm really lucky right now. Um, but anything that he cooks is really good. And then, cheesesteaks. Like, I do miss home. So I have been thinking about, like, cheesesteaks really a lot lately. I'm considering, like, renting a car and driving to Philly just to, like, get a cheesesteak. Like, that's where I'm at right now. But,
I feel
those
you.
are, I would say that those are my favorite meals at the moment.
I had a guy say that I left a ring at this guy's house, and we actually reconnected on Instagram, and he was like, "Hey, I still have your ring. It's been like maybe 2-3 years." And
Oh.
he was like, "I know." I was like, "These are one of those quarantine conversations." It's like one of those toxic future meme like conversations. Like, hey,
oh my gosh, that is definitely a future meme.
right? It was like, "Hey, I still have that ring, and I know we was just a fling, but will you be something?" Like, like, I don't know, something corny. But I was just like, "Oh, like, cool," but like, or whatever. They were like, "Yeah, if you just give me your address, like, I'll mail it to you." I'm like, "Hey, like, I don't live in Jersey anymore. I live in Austin." And they were like, "Oh, that's okay. Like, I'll still mail it to Austin. Like, what's your address?" And I was just like, "What the fuck?" So I was like, mind you, I still haven't gotten it, but we're not even gonna talk about that. But um, I gave them the address, and then like, why did I bring this up? What triggered this memory? Like, cause now I'm just like lost in thought, and I'm like, am I just spilling tea, or like, was there a point? Cause there was definitely a point. Let me look at the question again. Oh, it was about the meal. So I wanted him to send me a pizza. I'm like, honestly, bro, like if you're really about to send me this ring, send me a pizza. Like, you live in New York, like I miss New York pizza. Like, hook me up. So I knew I wasn't just spilling tea. I was like, what am I doing? But yeah, someone send me a pizza. Pizza, pay for this episode. Like, I don't know. Like, so what video streaming platform and why?
So, like, okay, when you say video streaming, are you meaning like a Netflix?
And I'm glad that you asked that, because a lot of people just immediately answer and they're like YouTube. And I'm like, well, let me like take a step back. But yeah, like Netflix, Hulu. It could be YouTube, if that's your jam, like if that's what you like that's what you're into. Disney Plus, Prime Video,
Oh
Stars.
my gosh, well, I have them all.
Ooh.
So I have Disney Plus, I have Prime, I have Netflix, I have Hulu, I have HBO, Go, whatever. Like, I don't know. We're a very subscription heavy household, as you can tell. But I would say for me right now, like, I've really been loving Hulu, mostly because I've been watching Little Fires Everywhere.
Yes, shout out Kerry Washington.
Yeah. And Kerry Washington, yeah.
And her daughter is so good too. Like the conversations they be having, I'm like, smack her. Like,
yeah, it's so good, and I've just been having a really great time watching that. I'm actually gonna get the book because I like to read, and I want to see if the book is like really mirrors the show. But so yeah, I've been really heavy on Hulu during this time period, and then Netflix, of course. I just finished Money Heist season 4. So I personally think that for me, I think I watch Netflix a little bit more just because I watch Grace and Frankie or On My Block or Gentrified. So I'm like always looking for new Netflix shows, but I'm definitely a binger in particular.
Yeah, me too. I personally feel like Netflix is my go-to. It's just, I think that's what I grew up on, and like, I'm just like loyal to like what I'm loyal to. So it's like, I like having options. Don't get me wrong, because I do use Hulu, I do use Disney Plus, I do use HBO, I use everything.
Yeah.
But I've just noticed I've used Netflix a lot more. But yeah. Okay, so what music streaming platform and why?
So I'm a Spotify girl.
Yes.
I do have Apple Music. I've had Tidal. I've had Pandora years ago. So Spotify, I don't know. I just really love Spotify. I love the data, like analytics behind it, like the storytelling, what they do their ads when it, especially in New York, when, like, for example, for like Valentine's Day, they're like, hey, you who listen to, Adele 452 times last. Like, I love that. Like, it's really, I'm a nerd about stuff like that. So, like, really using like the data to tell a story that's not only funny but also like has that human element really stands out to me. So, I've always been a fan of Spotify for that. And then I'm also a fan of Spotify just because I really love Discover. So I love when they curate this music for me that they think I would like, and more often than not, I do. So I'm just a huge Spotify fan. I used to want to work there for a long time. And, I just think it's a really dope company, and I love how user friendly it is, and also just how specific it is to us, to the users in particular. So that always stands out to me.
Yeah, I think Spotify definitely has a better user experience. Like they keep in mind like what would this person like? And I feel like Apple Music is more like you already know what you like, so why would I make a playlist or why would I recommend something to you? You know?
Mm-hmm.
Um
Mm-hmm.
and that's not particularly the case, like I might like something else. I just don't know what it is yet. So, you know what I like, show me what I like. There needs to be a food app. Ooh, I'm not even gonna trademark trade like
Don't drop the gems on here.
right, exactly. We'll talk about that offline. So anyways, what food delivery platform and why?
Hmm. Lately, well, Uber Eats is always outrageous with
Delivery
pure like
fees.
delivery fees. You order something, it's $15. After you go to check out, it's gonna be like 35, and
That's just like Airbnb with their rooms. Like, please, like.
Yeah, yeah. But honestly, lately I haven't really been using food apps because I've been trying to order directly from restaurants. Just
Yeah.
because I know that the restaurant industry is really struggling right now, and I did order in the beginning of this. I was using Grubhub a lot, and I remember I went to go pick up a meal from a restaurant, and someone had said. The one of the workers there had said, please order from us directly next time because of the fees. So
Because they
I've
do
been
have
using
to
that
pay a
more.
portion.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm just trying to, really support the restaurant industry, especially in New York City. So I've been using directly. So I've been calling them directly, and having them give me the food from there, just so I can be conscious of making sure they get every dollar that they can.
So interestingly enough, like the Austin market for some reason seems to be more focused on tech, right? So
Mm-hmm.
everything here is like tech driven. Like, oh, like if you're calling us, we don't actually deliver ourselves. You have to do it on Uber or
Oh,
Uber Eats or on DoorDash or on Grubhub. Like we're on all of those. So then I end up hanging up and then having to get on these apps. Now,
oh,
I mentioned this in another episode. I think it was the episode with Fabiola actually, where Uber Eats had announced, I believe that day when I spoke with her, a functionality that only works in New York and Miami currently. And it's if you call a restaurant, they could actually put that order into Uber Eats and have it delivered to you if they don't have delivery. So I thought that that was pretty
really?
interesting. Yeah, it's supposedly to attract an older market, but I mean, I'm kind of old school with stuff. Kind of like back when we worked together, we were always like paper and pen kind of people. Like we had a notebooks, we had like, whatever our planners, like whatever it was. Um so it's like I kind of like that old school call and order it, and you know if they want to use the third party service themselves, like then they could do that. Um, I think
Huh?
it's helpful
Yeah.
for a certain type of person because I always call some places when there's a problem. Like if my AT&T bill look crazy, I'm like, AT&T, how can you help me? Like, but yeah, okay. So where do you find well, I mean, I guess I'm gonna just eliminate that question because right now it was going to say where do you find networking events, because the thing is that a part of the reason why like this podcast even originated as a whole is because I was like, hey, like me as a creative, my thing was my events calendar. And
Yeah.
guess what? Ain't nobody going to no events. Ain't nobody having events. So I was like, how can I channel this energy and build like an infrastructure around virtual content? So I said, I'm
Yeah.
gonna make my own events. Like I'm gonna make my like I wish I was somewhere different every time I recorded an episode. Maybe I'll do that for the second season if this like picks up. But right now I'm using a USB mic to a MacBook, so the quality would sound good. But I actually just got an iPad Pro, and the iPad Pro actually records really good video quality, and audio quality. So I think I might just get rid of the mic for whenever I'm traveling and do episodes. But yeah, that was the question I was gonna ask. But since we can't go on events right now, well, actually, you know what? I'll ask it anyways because if people will listen to this in the future, they'll be like, "Damn, in coronavirus, you couldn't do anything." Like,
So where do I find them?
yeah, where do you find your networking events? I mean, when I met you, I had no idea what Splash That was, and you were just like, "You don't know what Splash That is?" And I was just like, "No." Like,
Yeah. I think it's fortunate living in New York City just because there's so many events here. I think, there's definitely an abundance, and I can't speak to other like markets or locations just because I really have spent my professional career here in New York. But for me, I really, honestly, that's where like Instagram comes in handy too, right? So like I said, I try to follow people who I think are interesting, whether it's in terms of like community building or like work opportunities. And so I use Instagram a lot to hear about opportunities, but there's also Slack. So I'm really a big proponent of Slack. I'm part of MIM Connect, which is Minorities in Media Connect. Um, that's a really great tool in terms of finding different events that are happening. They have different channels based off of location. So I know they have a California channel. I'm in the New York channel, so I always see whether it's, now a lot of the events obviously are virtual, but prior to this, seeing events like almost every day in New York City, and it would be like 2 or 3 events. And I know Chris used to go to like 2-3 events a night, it seems like.
right.
So there's
Ridiculous.
definitely an abundance of events here. So Mem Connect is one. Ladies Get Paid is another side channel
Oh,
that
I
I'm
like
part
that
of.
one too. I follow them.
Yeah, yeah.
I
A
follow Mim
great one.
Connect too.
Yeah. You're definitely a Mem Connect. Ladies Get Paid, I love that because it gives tangible tips as well. So like salary negotiation or, legal help. It's definitely a really great Slack channel to use for resources that might not necessarily be immediate that come to mind. Like I saw somebody like on there asking for help with like an immigration lawyer, like things that
Right.
you might not have that in your circle or people who know how to make apps. So I really love Ladies Get Paid. And then Taqueria is another one. Chris, I know that you are part of that.
Yes.
So I lean on the Slack channels, and then also, like I said, Instagram has been big for me. And then sometimes, like, I'll just browse, like, Eventbrite. Like, I'll be curious and see what's happening in my city during this time period. I'm like, let me see what's happening on Eventbrite. So I go there for resources and events too. But luckily, the community in New York, I think once you start following a few people, whether it's on Instagram or just in general, like being a part of these Slack channels, you really get informed about like different events and things that are happening, and then it kind of just becomes like a constant plug into things. So I've definitely been lucky in that sense.
Yeah, I feel like definitely like an advantage, to your point of like being in New York and just like having like those options, right? Like being able to go out and, go to these types of places because you have that opportunity. Here in
Yeah.
Austin, like it's like I mentioned earlier, like it's definitely a big tech market. So there's definitely, oh no, my iPad is dying. It's definitely a big market in tech. So it's like it's super easy to do that as well. So like I appreciate that as well. But
Yeah.
okay, so what is an ideal date to you?
An ideal date. So let me think back to one of the first dates with my now husband David. Um, we went out to eat, but then after that, we spent like I would say maybe like 4 or 5 hours just sitting on the steps at Bryant Park. Um, and like just talking, and like it was so simple. Like we weren't. There was no one else there. It was really late. There was like no necessarily like quote unquote like entertainment or anything like distracting us. It was really just us two sitting there having a conversation, and that always sticks out to me as like a one. It was like one of our first dates, so it was an opportunity where I really got to know him, and two, like it was just so. It was unlike anything I've ever done before. Like a lot of times before him, when I would go on dates with guys, like they might be trying to like impress me, or a lot of it was just like doing a lot of like interactive things, not necessarily like a lot of sitting and talking. And so for me, I think that was like one of the dates that stood out in my mind because it was just so simple. It was just two people sitting on the library steps and just talking for hours. And, it really, really sticks out in my mind as one of the best dates I've ever had.
And I like that because I went on a date 2 days ago. I know I should be social distancing, but I kind of met this guy online prior to like all of this, so I kind of felt like a little bit of trust there, even though I didn't know them. Um, and we actually went to a park in Houston, and although like maybe he didn't feel like a mutual connection, like I really enjoyed the date. Like, we drank some White Claws. Shout out White Claws. I'm drinking one right now. And we smoked like some blunts, and like we were just in the park. He made fun of me. I think I said Bayou Park, but I think it's Bayou. So I don't know Bayo. I don't know.
Bayou.
Bayou. Yeah, I guess it's Bayou Park in Houston. Really cute spot. Like you could see the skyline and like you see all these bridges. It was just dope. I was like, wow, like I love nature, I love hiking, I love,
Yeah.
drinking, I love smoking. I love talking, and you're cute and you're cool. So I don't know, I love this moment.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's like
I
an
love
ideal
hiking.
date to
I like going to
me.
parks and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like I kind of like composed the whole or orchestrated the whole thing like in a way, so I kind of like that like everything kind of worked out. Because I took a 2.5 hour drive from Austin to Houston,
Oh my
just to meet
gosh.
this person. So, shout out Corona. But honestly, I love Houston. Like, even if he didn't want to meet, like, what was I gonna do? Watch 2 episodes of, like another Netflix series that I've been binging already? Like, every night I've been going to sleep to, like, an episode of something I've already watched. Like, hey, Chris, how many times are you gonna watch the season finale of this show? Like, oh my God. But, anyways, I'm gonna be so embarrassed if he ever listens to this episode. Who is the ideal partner to you? And I think you're already married to him. Like,
Yes, I am fortunate to be married to my ideal partner. But I mean, the qualities that are important to me is someone who's trustworthy, someone who's honest, someone who's loyal, um, someone who can make me laugh, and someone who's smart and can teach me things. So I was blessed to um, marry someone who I am super attracted to and who fits all these qualities. So I'm definitely really really happy in my relationship.
okay. And then, what is your biggest pet peeve?
I hate people. Let me not say I hate people, but I hate like smacking.
I hate people. Like, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, like that. I mean, yeah.
My biggest pet peeve is just people. Like,
No, I hate smacking. Smacking is like really annoying to me. It's like such a like when someone's just like, oh gosh, it gives me a headache. Like it's like such a simple thing, but like I really, really hate when people are smacking in my ear.
and I think I knew that.
It's so annoying, and like if I hear it, I definitely will freak out. And some people just do it unknowingly. Like I know I have some of my family members who do it, and I'm just like, please stop.
Please.
For sure, my biggest pet.
Okay, I hear that. Okay, cool. And let's see here. So, what is the one thing you could not go a day without?
Oh, I think you cut out. What did you say?
Oh, I said, what is the one thing you could go a day without?
couldn't go a day without?
Oh yeah, you could not go a day without. I can't read.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
The one thing I could not go a day without. It's hard. Can I say eating? Like, I have to eat. I I get like really cranky if I don't eat. But I would say my phone, honestly. Like at this point, I try not to be like super reliant on like technology, but at this point, if I don't have my phone, like it is my everything right now because it's my connection to the outside world. It's
I did not mean to smack. I like subconsciously did that. I was like, she just told you she hates that. Like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. Like, but
yeah. So
no, I hear you. Having that phone right now is like,
I think I would freak out.
Girl, I got the new iPad and the new watch. Like, like I'm connected. Like, so.
Yeah.
Like, but honestly though, like really, you know my time management. It's like Starbucks before like being on time. So like, you know, with that being said, like the watch and the iPad, like it's really helpful. Like shout out to Apple for making like cohesive like products. Like, because it's really like even for like entrepreneurs like listening to this, like I don't need this microphone. Like I dead ass could make this show using the iPad, recording it directly on like an app like Anchor. I'm using actually GarageBand right now to record the quality. I'm using an iPhone to a mic and then myself speaking into the other side of the mic. It's a dual mic from Blue Mic, which isn't even necessary, but I bought it in January, so I was like, I might as well. I mean, you know, I did the diss track too, and we could talk about that. I re-recorded it, but we could talk about that later. But started a ain't nobody. It just started. No, just kidding. Like, anyways, what would you do? What would be the first thing that you would do if you won the lottery? And I think we might have discussed this question like in just like a previous conversations before the podcast and like in our lives in general.
If I won a lottery, I would say the first thing I would do is, this should be an easier answer. I would help out my family members who need it. I think that would be like probably most important to me. Like, you know, people who might need a little bit more help or they don't have the means. A lot of people have been laid off due to coronavirus.
Oh yeah.
You know, so I would like to help out some of my friends. And some of my family members. So if I won the lottery, I would do that. I would definitely, I'm a big saver, so, you know, saving is really important to me just so I can have peace of mind. So I would save a lot of it. I would invest in real estate. That's something that I'm looking into right now. You know, I definitely want to learn more about real estate opportunities and being an investor, in those types of opportunities. And then honestly, like for fun, like I would travel, I would, you know, maybe I would do that 3 to 6 months backpacking. And then I'm kind of boring. So the rest I probably would honestly end up like saving and donating to charity.
I love that though. I feel like you will have like a plan for like everything. So I like that was like a well-structured answer. Random like comment, but I actually applied to TikTok the other night for a recruiter role and it said in Beijing. And they viewed my application and I was just like, would I really move to Beijing? Like, I would still keep my apartment here in Austin if I could afford it and like come back every weekend. Because I feel like with this isolation stuff, I'm just like, you know what? I think I could live somewhere else.
You're young, you know? Like, I think this is like when you do those types of things.
And I believe that TikTok is going to be one of the next big platforms, honestly. Like,
oh, TikTok I have been on TikTok like crazy.
Okay, everybody has. Shout out TikTok.
Actually, I know quite a few people I'm on my LinkedIn right now, and I see 2 people I know who just like started working there.
Oh, really? Let me know. Because they actually, I didn't know that they were owned by this other company called ByteDance. And I was looking into that, and that's like a Chinese or I forget what Asian company, what Asian demographic, I guess. I don't know what the word is. But I'm not sure what Asian group or ethnic group owns that brand. But I think it's a Chinese brand. But I'm intrigued by it because it's just like, It's definitely like the next marketing platform. Actually, another one I want to talk about. Have you ever heard of Quibi?
Oh yes, I keep seeing people talk about that too. Yeah.
Right, it's like a 15-minute Netflix, and I'm like intrigued because it's like, you know how Snapchat in a way like kind of like I feel like Snapchat was like the first wave of like, hey, let's like shorten the attention span. And now with this like Quibi thing, like I already have friends that won't watch TV shows that have episodes that are 45 minutes or longer. So the fact that they're making 15-minute episodes, I'm like, oh God, like now my friends are not even gonna do anything that's less than 15 minutes, like, or more than 15 minutes. But
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I think
okay.
yeah, we have to be. I think right now, like in general, just people have to be like really smart about the content that they're providing. Like I see a lot of people like, you know, creating content and especially during this time period in particular. But I think like people do have short attention spans. Like TikTok, I was on TikTok for like 4 hours one day just because it's such a easy,
Quick.
digestible, funny platform, especially during times like this when like people are just need some type of like outlet. So I think TikTok, there's so many cool things that are going to come from it, and I know brands are going to be capitalizing on it. So, but yeah, if you can make out in Beijing, you should go. I think
Right.
why not?
It's just such a different platform to me because it's like you will see a celebrity like Megan Thee Stallion will have like 23K followers, and then you'll see a random boy dancer who has like
Teenager.
100K followers, and I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
like how does this work? So I love it.
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
actually met this really cute cop on TikTok, and now we talk on Instagram. But anyways, I hope you don't listen to this episode either. Um, um. Anyways, if you could have a superpower, what would it be? I think it's
The ability.
invisibility, right? Yeah, I remember this from like,
No, no.
oh,
Okay, so invisibility, yes, yes. But I've decided. I actually had this conversation with someone recently, so I've changed my answer. The ability to teleport. Like I would
ooh,
love to be
yes,
able
that's mine
to just
too.
travel anywhere, and especially with like all the craziness happening on with airlines right now, like just being able to teleport to like my family and friends would be so amazing right now.
Right, I love it. Okay, if you could go back in time and change one thing, what would it be?
Honestly, nothing. Like and this is
You can
something that
still
like
do
I think
it.
I've also have come to terms with recently. I wouldn't change anything because I'm really happy at like where I'm at in life right now. I'm happy with the people in my life. I'm happy with my job, my family, and so going back and changing anything would obviously cause a ripple, and I wouldn't be where I'm at now. So I'm really proud of the woman that I'm becoming, with the woman that I've been, and I think I'm in a really good place. So I wouldn't change a thing about my life.
Okay. And then what would you say is the most unusual thing about you?
Hmm. The most unusual thing about me. Interesting. Okay. When I was 10 years old, I was at my grandmother's house in Delaware, and my cousins and I were playing hide and go seek. We play it in the dark sometimes. Don't ask me why. And we turned up the light, and I ran into a pole,
Oh my
and
god.
I hit my tooth, and so I chipped my front tooth, and I still never found my tooth to this day. But during that time, I was screaming and crying, but nobody in my family believed me because I've always been a crier and a screamer. And so it took about 20 minutes for anyone to come down and see what was wrong with me.
Oh my god, that's awful.
It
Okay.
was so bad.
So if you
Yeah,
were a
it was.
ruler of your own country, what would be the first law you would introduce?
Oh my gosh, that's a
I know, but you got to
free
think about
healthcare.
this, President.
I would say free
Like,
healthcare for everyone.
yeah, you're the second person that said that. I feel like right now with like this pandemic, like that's like the thing on everyone's mind.
Yeah, it's making me sad. My friends who've been laid off and thinking about how healthcare is tied to, their healthcare is tied ultimately to their job, to their employer, and it's really unfortunate that that's what they have to be tied to. And a lot of them, when it comes to like health insurance, is super expensive. So yeah, I would say just free healthcare or that would be something that's important to me.
Okay, so what song would you say best sums you up?
Oh gosh. I might have to get back to you on that one. That's a real. Yeah, I think I need to think about that a little bit more. I'll follow up with my answer.
Okay, and then what three things do you think of the most each day?
What three things do I think of the most each day?
Yes.
Um, Leaving my house.
I love that. Like, so simple.
Be real. Honestly, like a lot of my thoughts are really consumed around like what will life look like after this? What will events look like? What will my job function look like?
What will fashion look like? That's what I was looking at.
I mean, like what type of
Girl, I saw this Prada hat, right? It was a Prada what is that called? A bucket hat, right? But the bucket part, the part that like, is like the flappy part, it was like clear see-through and it like went past the eyes. So I was like, ooh, like, are y'all trying to like tell me something? Like, are you dropping the latest, like, are these like, is this a bucket hat, sunglasses, face shield? Like, what is this? Like,
so funny. Yeah, that's true. Like fashion, yeah. Like I mean, I know that like masks. Like I've been seeing so many like creative masks that people have been creating and buying. Like my grandma, she made me a lot of masks. Like I really am curious. Like to your point, like what will fashion look like? How will we adapt to these huge changes that are to come? But I would say for the three things I think about, honestly, leaving my house, my family, and just the state of the U.S. I would say the state of the world.
But just like more directly impacting you.
But yeah, but more directly, like I do think about, hopefully some positive changes come from this, whether it's in the form of healthcare or unemployment, or I just think there's a lot of things, the way the workplace is set up right now. I think there's a lot of good things that can come out of this, and so I'm really hopeful and optimistic that some of these changes will be positive, and I'm just ready to get to the other side of it.
Okay, yeah, I'm definitely ready for this to be over too. Like, okay, and then last question. Actually, I think I want to leave it on that note, actually. Because I just feel like, yeah, I like that. Okay. All right, yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining me. Like, honestly, like, I want you, if you want to, rather, if you want to drop, like, any social media, if you want people to be able to find you and connect with you. I know you're very, like, network-driven. And, if you want to drop anything, like LinkedIn, full name, whatever, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever you want to drop, like, feel free to do that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, anyone can follow me on Instagram, Tiara, Tiara, period, Bud, Budd, Ramos, Ramos. You'll see that I post on my story a lot of random things. Don't judge me. But we're going through some crazy times right now. But yeah, like I said, I'm always open to networking and I'm always open to conversations. So if you ever want to chat, you can reach me there, or you can email me at my first dot last name. So Tiara, Tiara again, .budd at gmail.com. And always happy to have a conversation with people.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I will definitely try to include those links in the YouTube page. If anyone's going to watch this on YouTube. I still haven't gotten this up and running onto Spotify or any of the other podcast platforms. I was going to use Anchor. But if any of y'all are familiar with Anchor, you actually have to use the app to record the product or the actual app, the actual content itself. I'm using GarageBand, so I'm trying to figure out a way to drag the media files into a podcast platform. Still in the works, but for now, you could get this episode on YouTube. It probably won't be live for like another hour or two because for some reason YouTube has to take forever to process it, but it will be live. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Once again, thank you, Tiara, for being here. I really do appreciate your energy. And I hope I didn't absorb too much of it. like,
No,
but
no. Thank you. And thank you for, doing this. I think a lot of people will be interested in getting to know people on a deeper level and really appreciate you thinking of me. So thanks for reaching out and having me do this. It was fun.
yeah, for sure. Well, anyone who's new to this, like I said, thank you for joining In My Skin podcast. If you're interested in maybe, having a conversation with me or Tiara, feel free to reach out to us. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today's episode. I hope you all have a great end of your day. Because I actually realized I'm probably gonna do some more content for y'all this week. So stay tuned, and let me know if you guys have any topics that you think are of interest. Maybe questions I should probably take out. Put that in the comments. Whatever you want to do. But thank y'all for your time. Bye.